This might take the whole thing. It's close to Round Rock, or is Round Rock. It said $20-something, $27.
Trinity Street.
I'll get back in this lane.
Turn right on Trinity Street. In a quarter mile, turn left on East 5th Street. Turn left on East 5th Street, then pick up on the right. pick up on the right.
Hello, sir.
Sorry, I forgot I was waiting for you.
My name's Chris. I'll be your driver. I'm recording for our safety.
All right.
Now let's see how we gotta brave this traffic. I was just trying to beat him to it, sir. Arrow
Turn
so
left on
fast,
East
though.
4th Street, then turn left on Trinity Street.
There goes the Waymo.
Turn left on Trinity Street, then turn right on East 5th Street. Turn right on East 5th Street. turn right on North I-35. Turn right on North I-35.
Hello.
Almost there. There you go. Hello. Wait, it was trying to
Hey guys, I'm back, sorry. Was this real now? The John thing is real?
Yeah, we're writing up the SOW and sending it to Liz. So,
Did you give him the price?
In a quarter mile,
Yeah.
keep left onto I-35 north using the left lane.
so far they haven't objected to the price. Like, and Jeremy's seen it too, and he said he got the okay from Stanky.
What did we give them?
2.45.
Oh, no discount, right?
No. The only thing is, it's if they do something programmatic, we'll roll it in, but there's no investment or discount.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fine. Let's make it very
Yeah, we'll make it very clear. Yeah.
I make it very passing comment, not a binding comment. But that's okay. We're going to talk about it offline.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I have time after my dinner tonight, so we'll be okay.
Yeah. Just give me a phone.
Cool. How are we doing? Bianca, Maddie, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. Venkat, I think I wanted a time to just chat through the Melissa again. In parallel, we started engaging with Trey. We're yet to get hold of Eric. I think calendar is not working out. But we met Trey today and shared context with him. He did not have the context from he had the highest level of context that connect with the McKinsey folks, but he did not have like the specifics from Melissa, so we didn't hear his side or Melissa's side from him. But
And did we share the fee with you with Trey?
no,
No.
we didn't share your.
Okay, good.
No, for now, Venkat, this is just focused on getting a baseline view, right?
Baseline, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then baseline, what do we measure? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
then mostly it's Eric is and Eric Weinbaum, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Well, you and I were suspecting this.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Eric is yet to happen. I think it sounds like most in the earliest that works for all sides is Thursday, not tomorrow.
Didn't he
That's
suggest a
fine.
time tomorrow?
That's
though?
fine.
We have time, but most of that conflicts with your Greg and Kelly meeting, so we want to go into Thursday instead.
Yeah. I'd rather have you in the first one, Wilson, given you.
Sure.
I don't love to see how you position it to him, given the scars that you might have from the prior program. But with Trey, the conversation was good.
No, even with Eric, I think it'll be straightforward.
Okay.
And if it's helpful, I can see if I can catch him for 15 minutes. I can email him and say, it looks like calendars don't align till Thursday, but
I'm thinking definition.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Venkat, you're breaking up.
definitely give. I think you can definitely give him a call.
Yeah. No, he sent me a separate email too that just he's busy, but he'll make time, so I'll make him.
Okay.
Yeah. So just, I mean, with Trey, it was a bit of a catch up on like what's the discussion we've been having, the basic, the program and how it will be constructed. So all good. His initial instinct was that there would be something that AT&T can do. I had to work off of the 2024 baseline, and then we work together to get to the target. So that there is no us versus them. It's all of like we're doing this together. Like it will come back again with Eric getting involved, etc.
In the mindset that we need to do on their own anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. In the overall, there. I mean, in any case, I think we should, and we've spoken about this, I think we should at least have, like, how far are we okay to go if we have to? I think we should not. We should try and hold the line as much as possible, but if we have to, how far are we okay to go in terms of, what's the minimum impact after which we start getting measured? Like, if there was to be a number like that, what should that be? And we should just, like, in the background, follow that and have it in our back pockets.
I think like what I would do is I would figure out what do we do in what areas do we help in what the work blocks that we're going to be wanting with them collectively, and then then we can figure out in the back end. We can separate these out and first get that alignment, and then
Yeah, I mean, won't you say
the metrics,
won't you say for the most part the work blocks are a lot more in alignment now, or is there still some open? There is one open area in my mind, but anything from Melissa that you picked up? I guess not.
Well, I think so. The two things on that is there's a bit of catching up to do with Trey and Eric bringing up to speed on those work blocks, and two,
Right.
and there would be some details within those work blocks that we need to work through.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, definitely. We gave a run through today to Trey. We'll do the same with Eric, and then we'll also go into the details with them. So that part makes sense. I think the next thing with them would also be just aligning on the baseline, because Melissa has certain numbers which are not flowing through to finances P&Ls yet. So we just want to make sure the baselines and the plan are all ticked and tied. So those are two like immediate next steps that we definitely are in motion. The one thing for Melissa's conversation tomorrow, on the blocks of work, I'm guessing you are planning to share the indirect strategy piece that's being discussed with Melissa. Is that how you're doing?
So let me ask this question. So tomorrow, I thought tomorrow's conversation was more to give them end of this phase progress review. Is that not the case?
That's what we were thinking for ELC, Venkat, not so much for tomorrow.
But do we have enough refinements since last Thursday or for Thursday night or even Thursday afternoon to give another report on this proposal? piece may not happen.
No, I think they're sorry. Yeah, sorry. I think we're two different threads. We 100% should not bring indirect into the Melissa conversation from the strategy piece, Sprint, John Stanky. The update there is we've continued to work with Alicia, and Alicia increasingly, because they have increased their indirect targets, is sweating about what is the indirect go-to-market model and how does she actually make a real dent. And so when we think about Venkat, back to our other conversation of how do we think about this construct and making sure it's consistent or aligned with or modular with the other confidential discussion. I think the simple point of entry there is just, hey, quick update. We've had another conversation with Alicia. I think there's interest in frontline productivity, but they're also feeling the real heat on indirect. And so Alicia and Phil are saying they actually want real support on how do they think about designing a go-to-market model. And the conversation we're having with them for indirect, and then is beyond design. How do you make sure this time is different? And it's going to be about through cycle enablement and working alongside with them with the indirect partners to move the needle. So that's, I think, the update. It's less about the Matthias John Stanky conversation, much more about just an update from Alicia and where she's looking for help.
And I'm fine with it.
And if we frame it that way, then that enterprise block also becomes consistent with the other set of conversations, the confidential conversations, because indirect becomes a much more explicit part.
Yeah, Mohsen, I got confused when Priyanka said indirect. Because,
I should have clarified, there are two threads on the point.
And I talked about it this morning about including guys into based on my conversation with Matthias last night, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I guess with Melissa, then Venkat, one thing was we should get feedback on construct. We should let her know that we're working with Trey and Eric in the background to bring them up to speed and go through the baseline, etc. And I guess this is the third one, which is a new area almost that we did not contemplate in our original books of work, but that's something that we explicitly bring in and add, given our conversation with Anisha. And then four, we do have, and Maddie, you need to keep me honest here, but we do have ELC with our direct reports coming up next week. The plan for that is to do exactly what you said, which is, we're at the end of the study. Let us give you a synthesis of all the takeaways that we had from the study and where we think the biggest areas to push are as we think about 2025, and just get her sort of nod or buy-in on that makes sense, or if she had something else in mind. And then I think for internally we've started thinking about almost like this, how will we measure ourselves, what should be the approach, which we can go through right now. I know several of you have given your feedback, but it would be helpful to get yours as well. But I do two of that for tomorrow. Does that make sense, or did you have that? Do we think about something else?
I guess, so just looking at tomorrow's meeting, I think everybody's still on it.
Yes.
So, a couple of thoughts.
Yeah.
One, I wonder if just getting feedback on the overall construct or any additional inputs from her is better done offline. Unless there's, because I don't think we're ready to share the next level detail, but is that a shorter, simpler conversation. And
Yeah, I don't think we should have. I agree with you, sorry to interrupt you. I don't think there is a conversation to be had about overall concept at this point.
yeah.
Because this is we talked to her about 3 times about overall concept.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking the. Sorry, go ahead, Venkat.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking last time we shared the overall, right, like 55 million, how we were thinking about it. And she said, hey, Amir and I are going to go think about the overall piece and go work with Jensen and sorry, not Jensen, go work with Amir's people to get the, iron out how we will measure baseline and what's incremental, what's
Yeah.
not, all of that stuff.
Yeah. We can definitely ask her about that for sure.
Yeah,
We can
that's,
say, hey, have you thought more about that? And then we have any feedback. That's
that's
one
right.
simple question, and she'll say, whatever she wants to say.
That's right. The other part of that is, we had said, hey, this sort of underrepresents the impact, and we talked about making sure she has the full run rate impact. So even though we're solving for in-year, you'll remember this especially on revenue, we said let's also tee up the run rate impact. So that's point number 2. And point number 3 is the Alicia quick update that, hey, look, just sounds like the team has gotten religion around indirect, and they want that to be a real part of the support. So, we're continuing to work with them to shape that as part of the enterprise block of work.
Yeah.
And so that's one set of discussions. And it could be that that's a 5-10 minute conversation in its entirety, from depending on what she says, is, hey, I haven't had chance. Yeah, it's broadly right, but we obviously need to work through it. It could be a relatively short conversation. The second part of that conversation could be that, hey, we do have, I think the piece that we can't, that I think that we need to keep underscoring is the urgency of getting going. And part of what we talked about conceptually last time, Venkat, was, hey, if you think about, remember even Amir was saying, hey, I want most of this done by the end of the year, early next year. Remember we were saying he's running out of runway. And so working backwards from, hey, if you think about the impact you want to drive next year, what are the wave 1, 2, 3 sets of actions you need to have? Headcount, you need to have action, solution, when does the impact hit? And all of that in a very tactical, tangible way to make the case that, look, this is about getting started in the next 2 weeks. And even as we work through this other stuff, should we sort of get how do you think about a kickoff? Do you get that calendar? There's just something there, Venkat, that is beyond I don't think it's landed, or they just haven't actioned it. It's just, if we start a month from now, we will not be able to hit these numbers.
So, Mohsen, I agree with that, and we made that point last time. So, what I'd like to do is maybe going with a proposal.
Yep.
I don't like the bridge proposal because I just, that gives them
Yeah, it's an
so
out.
much out. And
Yeah, it's a releases the
I
pressure.
don't want a bridge proposal, right? And I want them to commit to, we can, I don't like this answer, but we can't say, listen, ZBB has a time constraint, and if you don't start now, you won't get it back. By the way, even the enterprise piece also has time constraint too, right? Not
100%.
ZBB. And so, but at least, on cost piece to get going, why don't we just continue the team to get going on that? I think a conversation like that would be good, and I would completely informed of, fully crystallized talk what's on there. I think that we can do that between now and maybe tomorrow.
That's right.
I would like to do that now. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe say myself, we have 2 things we're talking about. One is, you had a chance to reflect on what we talked about last Thursday, any feedback, and tell us how you're thinking about that, number 1. Number 2, as we discussed last time, we are quite eager to get started, because for us to have the level of impact we're aspiring to have in 2025, we need to start now. So we have to problem solve with you on what's the process, what's the path for us, and we should have, at least proposal for on what the path is, right?
That's
And number 3 is,
exactly
we'll give you an update on, and then number 3 is we'll give you an update on where we are with Craig and Eric
the things, and then we'll come back to the audience. I think she's asked us a number of times for work, and I think before the work is done, we actually should, even if it's that one-page frame, and that's not a broader audience, like it's not an ELC conversation, but I do think we owe her that answer.
Are we ready then with that for tomorrow?
I think there's a version of the answer we can be ready with, but let's. So maybe I'll park that for a second. And the next thing is on ELC on Monday, we are going to sort of summarize, hey, where we netted out. I think it will be helpful to preview and pressure test.
That's a good add.
That even if it's a summary of what will we say, because I want to make sure it's consistent.
That's an easy thing.
That's right. So that one. Then let's come back to org. On org, I think there are some Venkat, like the simple frame that I think we can and maybe should be ready with is the one-page frame of, look, when you thought about, org, here's the set of sort of go-dos, right? And which is around where we've seen, 3+ different groups of order management. Like, how do you go consolidate that? The massive sort of groups around BizOps, transformation, TO, like how do you drive clarity there? Capital being owned by the product group, and therefore none of the other experience-related, platform-related investments actually getting funded, driving that independence and that decision-making. Right, so at that level, I think we will have a point of view. There are some others that are, hey, what we would consider if we were in your shoes. Having Alicia, i.e. sales ops, sit outside of sales is problematic and, not entirely consistent unless you also have a chief revenue officer. And all of these people report into that chief revenue officer. Otherwise, you keep having sales ops being disconnected from sales. So consider that move. Right, so there are 2 or 3 others that are considerations. Now, I don't know if that's, like, let's just test that, right? Is that a satisfying conversation, or do we need to push it further, and how can we push it further?
Here's my view on this. I think we should have a conversation with Melissa on org tomorrow, and we could couch it and say, hey, we thought a lot about these pieces. We'll have to get your feedback, and we're going to do more work on this before we, put an app around this. And I'm fine to have a conversation just the way you just described and say, hey, it's more of a feedback. There's some feedback on how it's going to evolve, and then in business feedback, then we'll do more work. How about that?
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Right? It makes it a 2-part conversation.
Also, my only reaction to what you said is, are all of those things Melissa level discussions?
Versus,
Like order management stuff and things like that. What are the real things that are Melissa level things, or an operating model, which are the Alicia and some of those other discussions?
no, and that's why I think all of the. So on those, I think those will be the considered, right? Like we started talking about them last time we got into a debate. And so all I'm saying is there's some that are go-dos, and they may not be Melissa level, but I think we just build heft by starting with, hey, there's some hygiene, just go-dos. And from an org perspective, this is what we see. And then there are the big considerations, because I don't think we'll have a clear answer by tomorrow on the big considerations. Unless I'm thinking about it wrong.
Yeah, I think the real question is, do you want to keep the big questions and hold that without going in with the answer per se, but what the considerations are, and have the discussion on those.
Yeah, so look, if we feel like we're not ready, that's fine, right? Like, we can do it. I was just trying to beef the agenda.
I realize.
But if we take that out for a second, let's say we said, hey, that we're not quite ready for prime time. We can share sort of a summary of, hey, where are we netting out? What are we going to share with the ELC? That also brings a bit of closure. That I do think is helpful. I think on the overall construct, we can ask her the question. The Alicia, the run rate, I think we can go through all of that, but I think the question is, do we want the entire team for that conversation? Or do we again want to just sort of condense it to Melissa and Amir?
There a way where you start with Melissa and Amir for the first half an hour and then we can go from there?
So let's think through this.
Tomorrow's meeting, the invite shows that you got it.
No, that's what I'm. Sorry, Venkat, I didn't catch that.
Tomorrow's meeting invite shows that you got everyone, not just Melissa.
Yeah, currently it's everybody. I had texted Priyanka 2.5 hours ago. I think she's offline right now. Brianna, sorry. So to take other people out.
But that's why I'm testing, Venkat, is one way to run the meeting is to actually say, hey guys, a couple of things to close out. One is on Monday we have the ELC. Here's sort of the net summary we're thinking of presenting. I think that's okay with the larger group. Second is, if we think about the timeline and urgency to get going, on ZBB, I think, and how we think about the timeline, I think that's completely fine on a larger group. I think sharing sort of, the blocks of work and what conversations we've had with people, and what's the update, and Alicia specifically, and indirect, that message seems to have gone through. They're asking us to lean in. Even that I think is fine with the broader people. I think the one person is, the one piece that I'm not sure we want to ask, we could ask, is Melissa, Amir, any other inputs from our conversation last week. But I think that's better. I'm just trying.
I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the blocks of our conversation with the
All right.
other group.
All right. Look, I think the easy answer is we can, again, make this a smaller meeting. I'm just, the optics of last minute making a smaller meeting every week, I think will piss people off, but maybe that it is what it is.
I also think if I know on org we said yes and no, but if we do take org, it's again a smaller setting.
Can I just ask maybe a different question? So why don't we make this meeting more of a preview to ELC? Because ELC attendance, we have additional attendees for ELC, right? Why don't we make this, preview to ELC and call it a day?
I think primarily because, we could. I think primarily because we've been iterating towards constructs, the one-on-one conversations with Alicia, with Chad, with Greg, like Z, all of these conversations. So I think the team will need a bit of time to actually pull together the complete compendium, but I don't know if there's a bit of Jedi mind trick of if we write a really compelling summary with a bunch of exhibits behind it, that's all we need, right? Like we're not going to create new content at this point, right? And in that case, it could work. Priyanka, what do you think?
I was thinking if, like, I know we should beef up the summary, but isn't the conversation that we had with Matthias roughly the conversation we would want to have with the ELC?
I forget what it.
Because it was a,
The,
yeah, it was a readout of full Project Catalyst to him.
Yeah, no, I
Other
just
than-
forget exactly how it was written and what was said. But yeah, like that's my point. If you have the right front page summary, then we have a bunch of content behind it.
I think that is the right content, by the way.
Yeah.
Because but since then, what have we done? We've got color the CSO. We have the voice of the customer that we included in Matthias'
So
discussion.
the voice of customer is the one that they intentionally stripped out.
Yes.
So that's the one, like in my mind, and I don't know, I think Maddie's bringing it up. That's the only one that we did not cover, maybe, nor did we cover with Matthias. But other than that, I thought I would have used this as the starting point even for ELC, and then added voice of customer if we really want to bring the voice of customer in that discussion. And the other thing is that we've had one round of ELC conversation, which was very GTM oriented. So it's a little bit off. But it's fine. I think that's, I guess we're doing an end of study recap and the whole synthesis, so that's fine.
Yeah, I won't be worried about that, but I think we're fine.
Yeah. Fair enough, yeah. So we can bring back the voice of customer, at least the biggest highlights, and expand this executive summary to cover that as well. But is there anything else you would include in here?
For some reason, I thought more than this edition went very just to only for 4 or 5, but it did. No, you're right. I don't think that's it because
Yeah,
we just did it one day.
yeah. No, I think we talked about it, and again, it's fine, right? Like at this point, like with Paul Rosenbaum, these guys, I feel like we should.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I think we should do it. ELC will be fine.
Yeah, but here's
And
the.
if you to the extent that we're sorry, to the extent that we're comfortable, we can also share our construct, but that can be next update to believe this.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, on org we should problem solve separately because I don't know what additional work we would do between now and a week from now, other than I think just have a sharper framing. But let's just focus on the ELC update for a second. So I think that's right, Priyanka. Something's giving me pause about the summary, and I don't know what it is.
Are you reading the summary?
Yeah, I'm reading the summary.
Some kind of instruction or something.
No. That was my processing sounds. No, here's the. It's good.
And we can continue on things, right? Also.
Yeah, I guess and maybe there isn't a way to solve this, and also maybe I can think about it offline and we can iterate, but this feels yeah, maybe it's fine. This is the reaction Priyanka was having is like up until now we were sharing a series of individual insights. Like if I'm in the ELC, I'm like, yeah, this is all good, guys. What is your integrated perspective on the business? What are you saying is going to happen? What do we need to do? What's your view on order, order of operations. Are all of these things equally important? What should we do first, second, third? Like that's where I want, like that's the conversation. And I think we've done all of that thinking, but this feels like, hey, for each part of the business, let us give you what we've seen. The way we did the work versus the way we would tell the story. And that's not, I get that that's not entirely helpful, but that's what's giving me pause. I need to think about how to solve it. And so all of these leaders, when they get on the phone, it's not just is there a way to elevate the level of insight we've brought and the work we've done, and ensure that it's consistent with the conversations we're having with them. Those are the things that are going to come up. But I probably need to think.
Yeah, no, we'll have to. I guess this was the audience was strategy, so it doesn't work as is. All I was trying to say was use this as a starting point, and
It's the same. It's the same content, right? Like I was saying, the exhibits won't change. We're not going to create new content, but I think the framing, if we can get it right, will make a real difference. Cool. Should we talk about the construct at all? I think that was the thing we should just continue to push forward since we are all on the phone.
let's do it. Yeah.
Because I know we talked, Priyanka, I think you guys have made some set of edits.
Yeah, we connected. Palavan has connected. So, yeah. Let's start with cost. costs that we impacted, Venkat, we're saying for each dollar cost takeout in any of these buckets, we accrue 15% with a cap of 30 million. And essentially do that, and at the end of each quarter, we do the reconciliation on the cost reduction and accrue the actual payment we need to figure out.
Help or maybe not help. So that's sort of the blocks of work, which I need to get a clear alignment on that. Again, like I said, these are all quite intertwined. The second piece of this is what's the baseline for each of these. The
Right.
third piece of this is, what is the a construct under which we get paid.
Right.
Now, I think that there is a little bit of sequencing to this. And I don't think we can jump right into, here's how we're going to get paid. It's my sense.
Oh, yeah, for sure not. I guess this is more for us, Venkat, internally to get comfortable with this construct right now.
Yeah.
The
No, I hear you.
conversation with the guys will be exactly the sequence you said.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like the fact that we're front running this to make sure we have a point of view.
Yeah, and one thing to anticipate, I guess here is we are saying
Have a good day, sir.